Well, hello, y'all. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. It's October 13th, 2025, and we are here for this season 10, episode 2 recap of Real Housewives of Potomac. It's your girl, Mrs. C. Green. You know, the normal routine. Please like, comment, subscribe, share. Hit that notification bell so that you can be notified when I upload a video, okay? Okay, let's do our part for engagement. Y'all like my mug? It says freak in the sheets. So it's a double entendre. So it's referencing Excel spreadsheets, and you can use your imagination on the other reference. I'm not going to say it. But anyway. So it's been a pretty eventful weekend regarding Real Housewives of Potomac. You know, there were a lot of things, well, that stuff that came out about the SFOs. It has definitely changed. I don't want to say change. Let me rephrase that. It has modified my lens and how I'm now looking at Wendy and Eddie in this season. And it's crazy how the timing of everything happened. I don't know, call it divine intervention or whatever. I don't feel like a fool, but I feel like, you know, when you have an affinity towards someone because of your own personal biases, and I have openly admitted this, that I am typically drawn to the more professional housewives, the housewives that are self-made versus marrying into money or coming from money. So I had an affinity towards Wendy due to that. You know, I love the fact that she had a PhD. She was probably the first housewife to openly have a PhD that we knew of when she hit the scene. But I'm not a fan of trickery. I'm not a fan of deception. I'm not a fan of scams. I'm not a fan of misrepresentation on a dire level. Because that's funny, misrepresentation being the word. That was the word that Ashley used to reference the way Stacey came into the group. But Stacey's misrepresentation was kittens compared to what Wendy did. I do not approve of fraudulent activities. And as a believer, and I've said this in a couple of the discussion forums I've been a part of, I don't understand that if you declare yourself as a believer, right, you may not fear God, because that's how you walk in God's purpose in the word. But once you declare yourself as a believer, you don't think that the stuff that you do is going to come to light? Like, I never get people. It's really a lot more simple than we make it. Be truthful in your intentions. Live within your means. Be honest about stuff. Stop caring about what people think. Only care about what the Most High thinks of you. And don't try to pull those stunts and shows for people to perceive you a certain way. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not. And I'm looking at this show now, and I'm trying to reserve judgment for show Wendy pre this versus real Wendy. But it was hard. And I know I'm not alone. I know everybody was looking at her like, girl. But anyway, it's almost 4 minutes in. Let me just go ahead and get into the review. All right. But again, please don't forget to like, comment, and share. Okay. So, got my handy dandy notes here, so you know how it is. If you see me looking over, it's me referencing the notes. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So we open up, picking back up where they left off last week at Ashley's second bloom party. So they were all, you know, there were two different situations going on. You had Giselle over with Kiana and Wendy and their disagreement, and then you had Stacey and Ashley, and then Tia and Stacey's friend AJ in a separate scene with their disagreement. Ashley is asking Stacey basically about, you know, her divorce, and she's telling her, you know, you came into this group as a full-grown woman and misrepresented yourself. And like I said, it's kittens. However, I don't want to downplay what Ashley's saying, because she has a legitimate point. However, because it's very nuanced because of the messenger. Ashley, I need you to, I understand that this is your job, this is your role, given, you know, your position, being a veteran, and, you know, you don't want to, I don't know, maybe your life is just so easy, you don't have a lot going on, but you also misrepresented you and Michael's relationship. We didn't find out you and Michael had an open relationship until season 5, and that was 5 seasons well into your existence on the show. So I don't feel like you are the person to hold Stacey to the fire regarding misrepresentation. Now I get it. It's a plot thing for season 10. But again, like, we can't be hypocrites. You also misrepresented yourself at one point. So it's like, I need you to kind of back off of her, because I'm not liking it. You get what I'm saying? So, and I put here too, Ashley would know. And then also too, with the divorce, Ashley, you didn't really share a lot about, you know, the details of your divorce. And I get it. Once it's legal, you don't want to disclose so much or incriminate yourself or whatever, but it does not appeal to a certain person within the audience, namely me, who critically thinks, tries to be fair, just is not so one-dimensional in what they're seeing, and they understand the context, they understand the makings of a show. I think there needs to be an adjustment in how you ladies perceive what the audience may want, because not all audience members are the same. Now, I like to say a Housewives historian. I have been watching since 2007. Okay, I watched season 2 of Orange County and then picked up with New York, and the rest is history. So I have watched the evolution of Housewives, right? So I would like to say that I'm a well-seasoned audience member. Well, we got a lot of people who are new on the bandwagon, so maybe that audience is what this current landscape of Housewives is trying to appease to. And I won't say negative, but there's a difference, okay? You do the assessment however you want to see it, but I'm just going to speak for us old school Housewives viewers. We don't care to see that type of stuff. We like the real. Speaking of real, I'm going to go on another tangent. All of this stuff that happened with Wendy and Eddie, it made me, and I had to eat crow on this, respect Robin a little bit more. Robin Dixon is living in her truth. She always has. Not the most fun and exciting, but you know what? Robin downsized her life. She took her L's. Starting out in the gate, Robin kept it real about her finances. Robin moved into, I think it was a 2-bedroom condo for season 2 through season 2 to season 3 or season 4. And then they moved into a 3-bedroom condo from season 4 to season 6 or 7, because I think 6 is when she was transitioning into her home, and then 7 she was officially in her new home. But that's what I'm saying. Robin kept it real and showed what she was dealing with, and didn't try to keep up with the Joneses. I have mad respect for that. So especially as I get more mature in my age and just understand sometimes life happens. It's how you handle it. But anyway, so back to the scene. So like I said, I'm going to give Ashley that about the whole misrepresentation, but it's like, come on now, glass houses. And then Tia, oh wait, no, I put a note in about the Nigerian. I kind of inserted a side note. So then we go to the scene with Wendy and Kiarna. Kiarna says that she wants to give Wendy grace because maybe Wendy is a little bit socially awkward, and that's why she shows up in different spaces, but she has too many instances where she questions the character of Wendy because there's no continuity, there's no consistency in how Wendy shows up. Now, like I said, before all this stuff came out this weekend, I would say, okay, Kiarna, you might be tripping a little bit. But given everything that has been released this weekend, I think I might want to pay attention a little bit deeper into what Kiarna is saying. I just wish she would land her plane a little bit more, because I'm like, girl, I know you're on the show, but you act like you belong on another show. And I'm going to need you to pick up the speed with this show. But anyway. All right, so let's see. Oh, so then Stacey comes into the scene, and she's greeting everyone. And of course, because she's the target, they're giving her a hard time. Kiarna is saying that Stacey is an actor, like she doesn't break character. And then Stacey highlights how Kiarna is always meeting her with aggression. And then Kiarna's like, I'm not meeting with you with aggression. You know I can fight, right? And then Stacey's like, oh, I know. And I'm like, girl, no, you can't, because that last fight you had, you were leaving on a stretcher going to the hospital. So I don't know if you can fight. That's just me. I wouldn't be boasting about my fighting skills if I took one for the team. Anyway, so Stacy says that she doesn't understand why the women have turned on her, and you're not alone in that, Stacy. We don't either. I mean, I could theorize why. You know, you became a fan favorite, and they don't like that. They're like, oh no, you come in, you know, your first season, and you impressing our fans more than we are. We need to humble you. That's what that's about. That's my theory, but that's what that's about. And then we have, what is this person? Oh, Cookie. She's in the scene with Ashley because they're going back and forth. She's in the scene with Ashley and Stacy, and she's talking. No, actually, no. Let me take that back. She was talking to Giselle because Giselle at one point got up, because now the women have all come together in a group. But Giselle got up at one point and walked away, and she was talking to Cookie about Karen, just getting the download on how Karen's been doing. And Giselle tells her that she wants to come together for Karen's birthday because it's coming up. Stacy awkwardly brings up that she is Nigerian. That she may have found her Nigerian sisters in Tia and Wendy. I was like, Stacy, you are so cute. Like, you never cease to amaze me. That's why I was like, how can you hate her? Yeah, she's ridiculous and she lies or whatever, but she is just so cute. It's like, girl, no, they're not your Nigerian sisters. They don't even like you. So, well, like, shit, that's the case. I'm Nigerian too. I'm 43% Nigerian. No, real talk, I am 43% Nigerian. Shout out to those ancestries and 23andMe. I was proud to actually learn that, because that explains a lot in terms of just the way I carry myself and how I see life. But and then they wrap up. Oh, regarding the Nigerian comment, they pan to Wendy in her confessional, and she says, "Child, no comment," and then she starts laughing. All right, so then the end of this scene, Ashley, you know, it is Ashley and Ashley tastes, because Ashley is very sex positive. I'm sex positive too, so I get it. She brings out a female burlesque dancer, and the other ladies are like turned off by it because the lady is getting naked. You know, it's, you know, they show the audience members, and I had a mixed feeling about it, because while I'm sex positive, I get what Ashley's doing. I also understand that there's a time and a place, and maybe those people just did not feel like that was the time or the place to have somebody's ass and titties out. Shoot, I don't know what the strip clubs are like in the DMV area, but that's more that versus this, so I don't know. It's like, read the room, Ashley. Ashley and Wendy, well, I ain't gonna talk about Wendy. Ashley's a Gemini, so when Ashley does certain things, I understand. I try to see what she's doing, because I get why she's moving that way, but she just, she gives us a bad rap in a lot of her choices she makes. All right, anyway, so that's the end of that scene. So then we go to the next scene. We have, what was her name? Did I put Mia? Oh, okay, so this is a, oh, here we go. I said Mia. Why did I put Mia? I meant Angel. So this was just a small little, like, in between scene that's going to the next scene. So I highlighted this because Angel was working out, and she was talking with her trainer. Now Angel is a sexy, voluptuous woman. Like, she's got natural curves, boobs, like you can tell the girl got some meat on her bones. And she said she noticed that when she moved from Colorado back to the East Coast, BBLs galore. And I'm with her. Like, I moved from California and now I'm in Atlanta, and it is, I mean, you'd be surprised when you find a natural beauty versus like the BBLs. And it's not just BBLs. It's breast jobs. It's girls getting like nose jobs. Like, I've started doing like the, not in like surgical invasive stuff, but I've started doing the medical treatments, like medical beauty treatments as I get older. And it is a little off-putting when you are trying to be an authentic beauty within a false environment. And so I understood Angel when she said that. So then we get to Wendy's house. Wendy and Stacy are meeting up. Stacy, Oh, Wendy says she wore a romper in honor of Stacey, because I guess that was the running theme last season. Stacey always wore a romper, so Wendy wore one. Stacey says that Wendy is the one level-headed person in the group that she can relate to, and that's why she's finding it comforting to hang with her. And I was like, again, with everything going on, I'm like, God, that is not going to age well. So Stacey downloads Wendy on her experience she had with Ashley the previous episode when they were shopping. And then she just explained to her how Ashley's trying to come after her, you know, and she doesn't understand that. And then Wendy tries to drive the point home to Stacey that I hear you, but you have to understand why they are questioning you, because here you are, you know, you're saying you were getting a divorce, you're with this man, and then all of a sudden you're getting back with your husband, and there's a lot of evidence that shows that you're lying. So you kind of have to understand why the women don't believe anything you say and why they are targeting you in a way, because you're misleading with a lot of the information you're presenting. And so Stacey, she receives that a little bit, and then she comes clean to Wendy about the cannabis line that Giselle exposed at the reunion that Stacey was coming up with, because, you know, Wendy and Eddie have a cannabis line. And Wendy was like me. She's like, so Giselle was telling the truth. It's like, I as much as I want to not do it, I cannot deny that, you know, Giselle isn't lying. Like, she may not be a favorite, but you know what? If she's coming with the truth, she's coming with the truth. And I know Wendy, that, not that it bothers her, but it's like, girl, you giving her something to work with, ammo, by not being honest, basically. So just be honest, which again, these two people in this scene and this discussion is just, it's like, wow, it couldn't be more hypocritical. So, yeah, Wendy just points out that the optics make her look hypocritical and untrustworthy, and then we move on to the next scene. So, oh, wait, let me point this out. Wendy did say in the scene that she was informed 3 months before they did the reunion that there were rumblings of Stacey doing this, but, you know, she didn't buy into it because it was just a rumor. And then to hear Giselle confirm it at the reunion, Wendy was side-eyeing Stacey a little bit. So, I get that. All right. So Giselle, she meets with Tia at her house. Tia has 4 children, a set of twins and 2 older daughters. She mentions how her husband is from the south side of Chicago. And then she says that her name means pampered from mother's womb. It's a Yoruba name. That was on her nameplate, because Giselle pointed out her Yoruba nameplate. The kids are going to the ball, and Giselle was like, so your husband is basically the nanny? And Tia's like, yeah, she is, but don't mention that. But it's more or less like their lifestyles kind of coming together for the better of one. So, you know, Tia obviously probably provides a lot of the financial, like, you know, stuff going on in their relationship, and then the husband is a supporting character, which that dynamic can work if everybody's mental is aligned. That I'm okay with that dynamic. I'm a modern woman, so if you got the money and he got the family, as long as it's all working, hey, make it work. So then Tia mentions how she was born in Lagos, Nigeria, and she grew up in England, and she kind of gives us a backstory as to how she grew up well-to-do. She comes from Nigerian royalty, so her father was actually a Nigerian prince in Nigeria, so she does come from royalty. And then she mentions how her husband works in sales and account management for a global aeronautics company. So, and then Giselle says, well, I'll have to introduce him to Eddie, Wendy's husband, because he comes off as a nerd based on what he does. Then we get to Ashley's house. So her sister Jessica, her half-sister, is over there. She's, I guess, going to watch the kids while Ashley goes to a White House Correspondents' Dinner with her little boyfriend. I forget his name. Joshua. I think his name is Joshua. Jessica says that he's boyish, which I could tell Ashley probably put her up to say this, because then Ashley's kind of driving that point home in the scene with him. Ashley's used to dating older, so I understand why the transition from an older person's speed versus someone younger can be a little bit, you know, misaligning. Ashley has to readjust and tweak the way she dates. I get that, because I had to do that. It was like I was with my husband for 10 years. We were the same age, but we grew together, right? So now I'm back on the scene, and then the person I was with before me was young, but before I broke up with him after my husband passed, was younger than me. So it was an adjustment. And now I'm talking to someone who is older than me, and he's a lot slower in speed. So there is something to that. If you don't have a specific age range you go with, you do start seeing like these differences. But as the woman, and I have to learn this myself, you cannot compare all these men, and then, you know, because if you're comparing, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. So it's like, just take them for what they are. As long as they're good to you, they're doing what they have to do in, you know, their life, you know, paying their bills, they're fulfilling their career, you know. If they're good to you, the communication will naturally come, and you could bridge those gaps, which Joshua seems to be pretty into Ashley. Like, he was listening to her as she's commenting on him having white sheets. She said having white sheets is a sign of immaturity. I knew where she was going with that. I don't think a lot of people do. So where she's going with that is, boys, men, you know, they do their thing and they don't wash their sheets. So they keep white sheets to cover up the color. And so I think that's where Ashley was coming from with that. What do y'all think? I don't have white sheets, so but that's just me. So, oh yeah. That's what I said. Different dating, younger, picking out sheets. I mean, I guess that's what I put at the end of it, I guess. Now we get to Angel out on a date with her husband, who is handsome, by the way. He's a big, tall guy. I like, if you're not tall, I like you juicy. So, you know, he did. Aesthetically, that's my type. But like I said, I like him chocolate if I go black. But I'd be open to somebody who wasn't chocolate. Now, she is talking about how it's kind of difficult to acquiesce, especially as you're an older adult, to an environment that you haven't played in. And I get that, because I'm trying to, like, you know, navigate around Atlanta, coming from Southern California. It is totally different. So I totally related to her on that. Her husband's asking how her experience is being the new girl in the group and if she's being hazed. And I love this statement. I was like, you go, Angel. Angel said, hazing is for rookies. Now, I may be a rookie to this group, but I'm not a rookie woman. So ain't nobody hazing me. I do the haze. And I said, come on, girl. Come on, girl. You're not a rookie woman. Exactly. I might be a rookie to the group, but don't you try it. I am not the 1, the 2, or the 3. Okay? And if you want to find out, go ahead. So, they've been married for 6 years. I thought this was interesting, because I was like, oh, it seems like they've been together longer. Their energy is really good. They met on Facebook, and he DM'd her, and she said at first she wasn't checking for an athlete. I totally understand why. They have a bad reputation. It is what it is. You just got to be really disciplined and rooted in who you are. But, you know, it ended up working out, and, you know, they've been together 6 years strong, and the rest is history. And then they showed their home in Colorado. Oh my gosh. Now, this home has won awards. Once I saw it, I saw why. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was a mixture of like cabin style, a mountain house, but then it had a lot of modern features. It had like black accents. I was like, this is gorgeous. So I already know, like, them trying to figure out something in the Potomac area, because they said that there's not a lot of land there, because they're used to having such a large space and a lot of land. That transition is going to be a little difficult for them. So they're trying to find something, but they may have to go out so that they can get more land. Because according to what I know about city living in general, yeah, the closer you are to the city, the less land you get. So yeah, you may want to go out a little bit more. But yeah, that was their scene. So now we get to Giselle and Kiarna. So Giselle and Kiarna meet up at Kiarna's condo, which every time I see her condo, I'm like, yes, I love it, because it's giving me, like, you know, giving me a view as to how my life's going to be. So I'm preparing to move into a luxury apartment. And when I see stuff like that, it's like, yes, it's you got just enough space and enough luxury just to be, you know. So I big up to Kiarna. Giselle asks Kiarna if Greg comes over and spends the night, and she says yes. So basically, Kiarna has met Greg halfway. She's removed the pressure of marriage by moving out into her own space. So her space, Giselle calls it, is a safe space for her while they figure out what they're doing. You know, I understand that. I tried to actually explain that to my ex. My ex was like one of my great loves. So you'll hear me reference him a lot. Even though it didn't work out, I considered a great love. But we were living together. He moved from California with me, and I let my bottom line be known up front. And once we started being together, we started noticing our differences. Now, I still was in the mindset of marriage because I am a believer and I don't have fear. I have faith. So I was willing to marry him. And then he started getting scared, like, well, this is too soon. And I'm like, sweetheart, what did you move here for? What did you think we were doing? So then I proposed that. Why don't we break up? And we can not break up, but why don't we separate? Why don't we live in separate places and date so that you can be more on your speed? But he didn't want to do that. He wanted to stay. And I'm like, oh, no. That's not how it works. You can't have spousal benefits and you are not on that type of energy. That's just, come on now, we get it. So I get why Kiana did what she had to do. You know, she wants to be with Greg. She wants to work it out, but she is not going to compromise what she wants. And I can give her props on that. I can. So Kiana tells Giselle about the situation with Wendy and how Wendy basically snubbed her at the NAACP Awards. And then she recalls an event, like they go into this flashback scene, and it was Ashley, Kiana, Angel, and I think Cookie, which is Karen's friend. I can't remember exactly who the fourth person was, but there was a fourth person. And so Kiana's telling them everything. And then Angel, because Angel is, remember, she's on this whole, like, being tranquil and being well-rounded and being more objective and not being so turnt. Even though Wendy is perceived as the opposition, she asks Kiana, well, did you ask her? Oh, the fourth person was Tia. Sorry, that just came to my mind. So she asks Kiana in that scene, she said, well, did you ask how her children were doing? And Kiana got mad. Like, no, you're supposed to have my back, united front. And I'm like, okay, I see both sides. I get the united front, but you also have to give your friend the space to express their opinion. It's not a one-sided friendship. It's not, you have to be a friend that tells me what I want to hear. No, she had a good point. You know, you're sitting up here basically calling Wendy out for her questionable friendship, but then you didn't even ask her how her kids were doing when she's telling you she may or may not go to the event because they're sick. So I understood her on that. So then Kiana makes a reference to Giselle. Yeah, I had to chin check her on that because she's my friend of 20 years and she should have my back. And so I was like, why of all people would she say something like that in front of Giselle? Because it's going to bite her in the ass. Literally the next scene. It's like, that's the wrong person to be sharing stuff like that you don't necessarily either want to get out or get misconstrued. Because Giselle will, you know, she's one of those people who tell a Giselle, but Giselle's going to add a little bit to it or take away to fit her narrative. So it's like, well, you just shot yourself in the foot for that. So, so the next scene is we go to the Truth and Tranquility party that Angel is hosting at her house. Now, even though it's a rental, it's a nice house. It's a beautiful house. She says that the intention is to woosah, and they're going to have sound baths and just a day of tranquil, like living, eating, all of that. Wendy arrives first. Angel puts some lemon balm in her tea, and then Wendy's making a big deal about it. So everybody that comes in and gets the tea, she's like, did you give them the truth serum? Did you lace their drink? And I'm like, Wendy, stop being so dang on extra. So then Tia comes next, and Tia, which I thought was interesting. Tia says she doesn't drink or smoke or listen to loud music. And I was like, I don't know if I could live a life like that. I mean, I'm a believer, and yes, you're supposed to live as the Most High, but I'm like, I like my music, I like my hookah sometimes, and I like my red wine. So God bless you if you can live like that, because I can't live like that right now. Who's to say it won't change in the next few years? But I thought this was funny that Wendy was talking about like some of the things that are going to be healing if they're going to be geared towards pushing out evil spirits because there's some evil people in the group. As she's saying that, Kiana and Giselle are walking in together. I was like, production is shady. So Giselle comes in. You know, Giselle's got a job. It's to keep the show going. So Giselle comes in. She's bringing up the issues between Wendy and Kiana, saying she wants to make sure everybody is good. And then Wendy says, yeah, I'm good. I'm in peace. I'm at peace and Kiana's in pieces. We just have two different outlooks on what's going on with us. And I was like, okay, Wendy. And then she brings up the chin check comment that Kiana made in reference to Angel. I was like, dang, here we go. So of course, Angel is, you can kind of tell by her personality, even though she's zen and tranquil, she's no nonsense. She will get you together. So Angel's like, I know that didn't happen. I know my friend of 20 years wouldn't say anything like that. And it's like, but she did. And so Kiana's trying to deny it. But I mean, we saw it. We saw it. So it's like, God, you ain't looking too good right now, Kiana. And then Tia's like, chin check, chin check, chin check. I don't know what they're saying. Remember, there is a language barrier. Tia is from England and she is of Nigerian descent and she comes from a privileged background. She's not going to understand the hood lingo. Okay, she's just not. So we going to let her have that. Kiana apologizes to Angel once it's beaten out of her, what she did. And then Stacy arrives and they're making fun of her breath. There's a bowl of breath mints. That's the scene that they put in the super trailer. And Stacy takes it in stride, but like I said last week, there's just certain things that are funny to me, and that's not funny to me. I wish Stacy would come back with something about BO on them or something. I would say something like, girl, your pussy stank. So, like, I'm not going to have people who keep coming at me about BO and stuff. I'm not. So, anyway, so, they're going into their activity of the sound bath. So it's when you get real calm and you meditate and you just, you listen to the sounds. As the host is talking about the sound bath and telling them, like, to gauge their intentions, all the stuff that you work into your lingo when you're conducting a sound bath, they have these bubble scenes of conflict with each of the ladies. So then you've got the Stacy and Ashley of it all. You've got the Wendy and Kiana of it all. You've got, I forget what the other scene was, but they were just different scenes that, oh no, I forgot. Because Wendy and Kiana were sitting. But there's just a different scenes, and I thought that was cute because it's like they're highlighting all the drama while they're talking about taking a peaceful approach to resolve the drama. So Angel says that she is actually a certified mindful outdoor tour guide, and she wants to host some sort of event for them. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Stacy wants to reset. So she asks everyone to come together and, stand to their feet, put their hands in the air as a goddess and let out a goddess breath. And it's like, Stacy, you're either, no, it's not an either. You're cleverly playing on what they're doing. Because I'm like, why would you, of all things, say a goddess breath when they're talking about how you have hot breath? Dang on Stacy. So then Stacy pulls Ashley aside and she shows her divorce decree online, right? And everybody notices that there is no notarization or seal or anything on the document. And I've been divorced, so yes, you do have to have that. So I don't know if Stacy made it on an app or a Word doc or whatever, and then she uploaded it on her phone, but that's what it seems to look like. And then Giselle was like, I'm over it. She lying. I don't care. I hope so. I hope so. Leave it alone at this point. And then Kiana says that she don't care about the divorce. She only cares about that's my daughter, y'all. Girl.
Hello, everyone.
It is a synchronous learning day. Georgia is notorious for having days off. And so for Columbus Day, she's home, and that's why she's in here. And then my other daughter is right here, Coco.
Yeah, we just had to say hi. I'm doing my work right now.
All right, well, go finish your work so I can finish this video because I have 5 minutes before my next meeting.
Okay.
I love you.
Love you too. Okay.
We have a little cameo for my girls. Bye, Coco Bean. Go, sister. All right, so yeah, Kiarna's like, I don't care about the divorce decree. I just care about the TJ and the non-payment of it all. Then we get to the final scene, and it's when everyone gets together, Cookie, Giselle, Kiarna, and Ashley, to honor Karen, because it's Karen's birthday. So they go to her favorite breakfast place, Tally Ho. And I guess they went there last season, but like I said, I didn't watch last season, so I didn't catch this scene. Ooh, my hair got messed up when they came in. So Ashley makes a reference, and I noticed this, that her and Giselle had on blonde wigs, pink sweaters, and denim. I was like, what are y'all, twinsies now? Shit. Since we don't have the matching green eyes, we got to match in our attire. Oh, gosh. And so Cookie comes in, and Ashley calls out how the boobs, she's like, it's nice to see the three of you, because, yes, Cookie's titties were big. I'm a busty girl, as y'all can see. So you see how big these are. They do look like they could be 3 heads, right? So I understand, Cookie, you know, as naturally curvy women, we got the boobs coming out, but, you know, make sure they look tasteful, because that shirt didn't look good. You know what actually stood out to me that didn't look good? Her nails. I was like, oh, it's those nails like from the 90s when they used to be real long and like not shaped properly. Like they look like rectangles. And then they don't look like fresh, so like the nails around it, they're not sharp. Like I like nails, so I was like looking at her nails like, girl, like those are tacky. How 1998 that looks. But anyway, so then Cookie, she's telling everybody how Karen's doing. Karen's doing a lot of reading, exercising. She's doing pretty well. She talks to Ray a lot to keep up with Ray. Ray's golfing. You know, he's adjusting to what's going on the best that he can. And there is a possibility that Karen can get out soon, which we now know is true because Karen was released on September 2nd. This scene in particular was filmed on Karen's birthday, which I forget which day in May, but it's in early mid-May. So, now, another thing Cookie brings to the table, which I know was staged, she brings up that she heard that, oh no, she says Chris Samuels texted her. And this is so that we can segue into this next point of Ashley saying that Ashley was told that Stacey was trying to hook up with Chris Samuels. And I'm like, oh, look at this. Look how natural this scene looks. But anyway. So then they're all, you know, making their commentary on that. Cookie was throwing the most shade, like, oh, Chris don't need that funky smell in his house, and Chris this and Chris that, and no way, she trying to holler at him. And I'm like, girl, you don't even go here yet. I don't know if they're gonna bring you, but you're doing a little much. You can tell she was a representative for Karen, because, you know, even though Karen is locked up, Karen is definitely the invisible housewife. So then now Giselle is like, wait, Chris Samuels? She's trying to get with Chris Samuels. Somebody call Monique, and the credits are rolling in. And I was like, oh, so now you want Monique to come back because then she can go against Stacey. Giselle, that's what bothers me about Giselle. She's so predictable, and, you know, she likes to pick and choose when she wants to stand on principles and convictions, because Season 5, you wanted to get rid of Monique because she didn't represent Black women effectively when she became Monique Mayweather Samuels and put the smackdown on Candace. But now, because Stacey is your enemy, Monique is fine. That's what I'm talking about with Giselle. But at least, you know, she's living in her truth and she's being authentic in her hypocrisy. But that has always bothered me about her. She likes to pick and choose when she wants to stand on her principles. I don't like it. And then, oh, I put Cookie as ghetto, and then I put the nails. So then after that, credits roll in. They fast forward to like 3 weeks, and they show Monique walking in, because of course they're going to bring her in. So I'm thinking she's either going to come in next episode or maybe episode 4. We'll see. But I'm looking forward to seeing my girl, Monique Mayweather Samuels. You know, she'll get with you. And that was the episode. So this one, if I had to rate it, I would give it like a 7.5 out of 10. It wasn't that good. It was more or less a episode to connect the story, you know, so they're going in sequence, and that's what this episode served as. So let me know what you guys think. It was pretty good, you know, like I said, not spectacular, but good enough to tie the story in. Can't wait to see my girl Monique, though. And Wendy, Can't wait to see how the season's going to pan out for you, given everything that's happened. All right, y'all. On that note, I'm going to leave y'all. My meeting started. Got to get to it, but peace and blessings. Bye now.